Stop staring at your depleting bank balance with that agonizing, chest-crushing panic freezing your soul. Stop refreshing your mobile banking application with shaking fingers, desperately praying for a random deposit that never comes, and stop drowning in the terrifying, silent dread of how you are going to survive the upcoming weeks, pay off those mounting debts, or shelter your family. Freeze your position right now. Look at your screen with absolute intensity, and do not dare to remove your thumb from this device. Because if you make the catastrophic mistake of skipping past this high-priority financial rescue broadcast in the next 3 seconds, you are actively signing your own final, irreversible bankruptcy notice for the year 2026. This is not a common piece of social media noise or a generic motivational clip designed to give you a temporary psychological lift. This is an immediate, divine financial emergency intervention authorized by the highest judiciary of heaven specifically for your current economic crisis. Tonight, the invisible hand of Almighty God is violently stepping into your material reality to structurally shatter the heavy, rusted scarcity cage that the spiritual adversary forcefully locked over your wallet and your bloodline way back in the year 1990. If you disconnect from this transmission right now, you are telling the angelic couriers to freeze your funds, leaving your financial pipeline completely exposed to a total, devastating collapse tomorrow morning. Look at the brutal, unyielding reality of the artificial financial suffocation you have been enduring for decades. You have noticed a strange, recurring pattern where no matter how hard you grind, no matter how many hours of overtime you clock, and no matter how meticulously you plan your budget, your money seems to completely vanish the exact microsecond it hits your account. You have spent years watching every single financial breakthrough get instantly swallowed up by a sudden, unexplainable household emergency, an unexpected car breakdown, a sudden medical bill, or a cruel twist of economic fate that drags your savings right back down to zero. You have been trained by a surface-level, secular world to blame these continuous setbacks on bad luck, inflation, a tough job market, or poor timing. But I am here to completely interrupt that dangerous, blinding illusion with a fierce, absolute truth. Your wallet is under an active, highly organized spiritual blockade. The forces of poverty don't just want to keep you stressed, their ultimate objective is to keep your bloodline entirely dependent on borrowing, renting, and scraping by, ensuring you are too mentally exhausted by daily survival to ever realize the massive, global wealth transfer that is your name written on it. Tonight, the invisible hand is smashing that blockade to absolute dust. Do not be fooled by the cold numbers on your current financial statements or the fact that your bills are currently piling up on your kitchen table. In the United States, you are surrounded by a deeply rigid, materialistic culture that forces you to view your economic worth purely through credit scores, traditional banking rules, and earthly logic, entirely blinding you to the fact that physical money is merely a natural reflection of an open spiritual pipeline. The principalities of lack do not rob you through physical theft, they operate in the unseen realm, placing invisible drains on your revenue streams, freezing your professional promotions, and closing the doors of opportunity right before you can seal the deal. Have you ever noticed how you feel a sudden, freezing wave of panic and anxiety right before you are about to make a major career move or receive a financial blessing? That is the scarcity cage tightening its grip, trying to force you into a state of permanent desperation so you surrender your authority out of pure survival fatigue. But tonight, the Supreme Judge has stepped into your atmosphere to forcefully break that lock and release your inheritance. I have seen the whispers you could not hear. I heard the entities of debt and generational poverty gathering in the deep shadows of the unseen world, holding up the blueprint of your bank accounts and drafting a terminal decree of financial ruin against your future. They laughed as they reviewed your years of unrewarded labor, boasting to one another, "We will keep them trapped in a cycle of constant debt, we will ensure they never experience true overflow." and we will make sure their family tree remains bound to the struggle of the paycheck-to-paycheck trap. We will trigger another sudden expense tomorrow, and they will never recover. They thought their operation was completely invisible to you. They thought your daily panic and financial distractions would keep you blind until the trap closed shut on your life forever. But the sovereign Lord of the universe has stood up on your behalf, banged his absolute gavel in the courtroom of justice, and ordered an immediate financial rescue operation. The invisible hand is tearing down their tracking systems, cutting the ropes of debt that have bound your lineage, and opening the floodgates of an overwhelming, supernatural supply. Do not touch your screen, do not look away, and prepare your spirit to receive the ultimate wealth release right now. While your natural mind is drowning in the numbers on your phone screen, a high-velocity, supernatural restructuring is taking place inside the cosmic record rooms of the spirit realm. I am here to expose the absolute, terrifying precision of the invisible hand. Right now, as you sit under the heavy, electrified atmosphere of this emergency financial rescue broadcast, Almighty God is penetrating the deep ancestral roots of your economic timeline and the physical foundation of your bank account. He is not just giving you a temporary sense of relief or a brief moment of hope, he is executing a permanent, celestial pipeline unblock. Deep within the judicial courts that monitor the material allocation of your life, the sovereign judge is physically pulling out the ancient, heavy ledger of your family's history, the exact record that documented every single drop of financial sweat, every unrewarded hours of overtime, and every blocked opportunity that has kept your household restricted since the year 1990. The invisible hand is taking that entire history of economic suffering, burning it from your timeline, forcefully melting every single blockage aimed at your wallet, and releasing an overwhelming supernatural fund directly to your name. Do not be fooled by the fact that your money has historically felt trapped behind an invisible wall of delays, missing payments, or frozen projects. Those persistent limitations are nothing more than the fading echoes of a broken earthly pattern that has just been legally liquidated by the highest authority in heaven. You have been conditioned by years of watching your bank balance fluctuate to believe that your household must inevitably inherit the same financial anxieties, the same credit struggles, and the same quiet defeats that limited the generations before you. But the invisible hand is completely interrupting that systemic entrapment tonight. The dark, hovering blocks that have been stopping your stuck funds, freezing your business growth, or keeping your borrowed money from returning to your hands are facing an absolute, celestial arrest. The deterioration of your financial strength is being stopped by divine decree, and your wallet is being structurally reprogrammed to handle an unprecedented, continuous influx of supernatural abundance. I have seen the whispers you could not hear. I heard the spirits of financial stagnation and perpetual debt gathering at the borders of your investments and your current career, verifying the strength of the limitations they laid down against your bloodline. They pointed to the sleepless nights you spent calculating bills and the unexplainable emergencies that pop up out of nowhere inside your household as permanent proof that your finances were bound to stay restricted. They boasted to one another, "We will make sure this account remains under a cloud of constant worry, we will pass the same heavy burdens of interest and borrowing down to their children, and we will trigger a sudden crisis that fractures their stability before they can ever build a lasting asset." They thought your quiet tolerance of these repeating financial struggles was your legal consent to their torment, but the sovereign Lord of the universe has stood up on your behalf, banged his supreme gavel in the courtroom of justice, and ordered an immediate biological and spatial cleansing. The invisible hand is purging their venom from your lineage, turning back the dark cycles, and filling your life with an unshakable, divine tranquility. Do not get fooled into expecting a slow, natural, typical restructuring of your income streams that relies on years of traditional labor, difficult negotiations, or earthly strategies. Linear resolution is the slow, limited protocol of the natural world, designed to keep you spinning in circles until your energy is entirely spent. The pipeline unblock operates on the immediate, explosive frequency of a sovereign divine override. Tomorrow morning, as the physical world resets, an unprecedented shift is going to manifest inside your financial reality. It will materialize as a sudden, shocking notification of cleared funds, the total disappearance of that unexplainable, heavy dread that usually greets you when you check your statement, a profound willingness of an old debtor to finally repay what they owe, or a sudden change in your professional favor that leaves your natural mind completely paralyzed with relief. This atmospheric transformation is the undeniable materialization of the clean ledger. It is the physical proof that your wallet's spiritual routing codes have been completely switched. The universe is being forced to recognize that your name is no longer a target for financial arrows, but an impenetrable sanctuary of divine wealth. I saw the secret meetings where the spiritual gatekeepers of limitation plan to project their final wave of economic chaos and unexpected debt onto your household for the year 2026. They had already drafted the blueprints to ensure that your mind would remain a place of low-level anxiety, always managing one expense after another, and always too distracted by daily survival to ever focus on the massive global wealth and creative breakthroughs that heaven is releasing to your name. They wanted your family trapped in a cycle of constant economic defense. But the invisible hand has walked straight through their biological and physical blockades, wiped your financial records clean, and erected a blazing wall of fire around your property lines. Their legal authority over your money has been permanently revoked, and your bank account has been stamped with the infinite protection of the King. You are moving away from the position of the worried, vulnerable defender and taking your seat as the sovereign gatekeeper of an armored legacy. There is an absolute, unyielding financial law operating within the highest governance of the spirit realm that decrees that whenever your wallet has been systematically targeted, your resources drained, and your mind heavily weighed down by a cloud of constant economic anxiety, the ultimate relief will not be a slow, difficult process of human recovery. It will be a sudden, explosive arrival of supernatural restoration. The long, exhausting seasons of you lying awake in the dark, staring at your ceiling and drowning in a silent panic about your mounting debts, your unpaid bills, and the terrifying fear that your family will never break out of this exhausting cycle of survival have officially reached their absolute expiration date tonight. I am here to build a fierce, indestructible certainty in your soul. The entire architecture of generational poverty and financial blockage in your life is being completely demolished by the midnight bank alert. Heaven has just authorized an immediate, high-velocity material settlement that will completely bypass every traditional timeline, every human bank manager, and every slow-moving rule of the natural world. God is not just throwing you a small, temporary lifeline to clear a single expense, He is forcefully executing a mandatory 10x wealth and prosperity restoration that will instantly flood your accounts with unshakable stability and permanent freedom before the sun rises tomorrow morning. Do not be fooled by the current single-digit numbers on your banking app or the cold reality of the financial limitations that have been suffocating your family line since the year 1990. In the United States, you are constantly conditioned by a highly rigid, secular culture to believe that securing your financial future requires endless decades of grinding physical labor, that your credit score defines your destiny, and that your household must stay permanently restricted to a life of borrowing and scraping by. But I am here to completely interrupt that systemic brainwashing with an uncompromising, absolute prophetic mandate. The invisible hand is currently compressing years of withheld blessings, hidden allocations, and unrewarded labor into a single, high-velocity financial shift. I am delivering an explicit, time-stamped ultimatum to your spirit. Before 12 a.m. hits your clock tomorrow morning, a sovereign turning point will manifest in your immediate physical reality. You will receive an unprecedented piece of news regarding your income, an unexpected breakthrough text message on your phone, a major financial clearance via your email, or a sudden, shocking business notification that will leave your natural human mind completely paralyzed with relief. The massive debts that have been crushing your shoulders will be completely obliterated in a single moment. I have seen the whispers you could not hear. I heard the spirits of financial suffocation and constant struggle celebrating the fact that your bank account had been under constant pressure. They stood over your life, holding up your unpaid invoices, your moments of quiet despair, and your collection notices as permanent trophies of their victory. They whispered directly into your subconscious that you were failing as a provider, that your children were destined to carry the same heavy economic weights you carried, and that your household would always live at the mercy of sudden emergencies and unexpected setbacks. They set hidden traps to ensure that the exact moment your wallet began to experience any real progress, a sudden crisis or an unexplainable domestic problem would emerge from the shadows to drag your balance back to zero. But the sovereign Lord of the universe has stepped into the center of your financial timeline and shattered their plots to absolute dust. He has issued a supreme wealth release order, demanding an immediate, forced eviction of every toxic limitation and dark restriction hovering around your name. The abundance that was stolen from your family line is being forcefully routed back to your accounts this very hour. Do not get fooled into looking for a small, ordinary financial blessing that will only cover your immediate weekly groceries, clear a minor utility bill, or give you a brief moment of breathing room. Low-level survival is the frequency of the slave, but this shift is designing the armored legacy. The invisible hand is dropping an overwhelming 10x blessing and prosperity surplus into your custody to completely transition your status from a worried, vulnerable debtor into a sovereign governor of a protected estate. The deep, heavy, ancestral trauma that has dictated your choices for decades, the constant fear of running out of resources, the anxiety of looking at price tags, and the dread of an unstable tomorrow, is being utterly consumed by this sudden influx of liquid wealth and divine security. You are being aggressively extracted from the bracket of the worried casualty and launched directly into the position of a financial anchor. The economic damage of decades is being completely undone in a single midnight hour. In the United States, you are surrounded by an artificial culture that tells you that your worth is entirely defined by your current tax bracket, your employer's whims, and your traditional assets. But I am here to command an absolute supernatural override of that broken Babylonian protocol tonight. There is an immediate, aggressive relocation of global wealth happening in your atmosphere at this exact microsecond. The security, the freedom, and the massive financial breakthroughs that were legally and spiritually withheld from your household are being shaken loose by a celestial earthquake. The enemy thought he could wear you out by extending the financial drought for years, but he did not realize that God was compressing the vital rain of your entire future into a single, explosive midnight cloud. That cloud is bursting over your account before the clock strikes 12 tomorrow morning. I have seen the whispers you could not hear, and I am deleting them with a loud, terrifying roar of this divine settlement. The adversary is absolutely terrified of what is about to hit your device and your life. He knows that the moment that dynamic financial alert materializes, his ability to control your household through fear, anxiety, and desperation is permanently broken. He has kept your account under pressure to keep your voice quiet. But by sending this midnight bank alert, heaven is completely funding your ultimate freedom. The people who assumed you would always struggle, who dismissed your potential, and who expected your business to fail will be left completely speechless when they witness the immense, unexplainable sovereign surplus of wealth that now covers your territory. They will look for a natural explanation, but there is no logic here. There is only the supreme authority of the king. Do not be fooled. This is the definitive turning point of your economic existence. If you turn away from this word, you are choosing to stay bound to the slow, agonizing crawl of linear debt and passing the vulnerability down to your next generation. But if you receive this aggressive restoration, you are authorizing the immediate release of the 10x payout of wealth. The wall of fire is active, the enemy's assignment is cancelled, and the celestial transfer is live. The old identity of insufficiency is exiting your life forever. The absolute weight of divine prosperity is occupying your reality. The restoration is initiated. The codes are processing. The Midnight Bank alert is live. You are moving from the panic of the financial shortage to the dominion of the overflow. The restriction is exterminated. The protection is final. I saw the secret meetings where they planned your final economic ruin for the year 2026. But the invisible hand has already reversed the flow of the entire system. The text and the energy that are arriving before 12 a.m. cannot be blocked, cannot be reversed, and cannot be delayed by any human or demonic force. You are moving from empty-handed worry to permanent, unshakable abundance. The alert is coming, your wallet is unlocked. Your 10x protected wealth air is live. We have reached the absolute, dangerous flashpoint of this entire financial rescue operation, the exact tactical threshold where the complete liberation of your assets must be locked directly into your physical reality. You have felt the raw shock of the empty bank account. You have witnessed the pipeline unblock vaporize the ancient residue of poverty codes inside your financial ledger, and you have stood under the roaring downpour of the Midnight Bank alert as the 10x wealth surplus was redirected straight into your accounts. But I am here to deliver an uncompromising, urgent sovereign ultimatum. In the high court of heaven, there is a strict, unyielding law of spiritual execution. A cosmic material relocation of wealth requires the physical signature of the household's designated chain breaker. The massive ancestral records have been entirely cleansed on your behalf, and your banking routing codes have been cleared of the enemy's hidden draining mechanisms. But the final activation of this golden shield demands your immediate kinetic consent to permanently lock down the enemy's terminal weapons and prevent them from launching a vengeful, sudden counterattack against your wallet tonight. You must execute this wealth signature command. Do not be fooled by the deceptive silence of the room you are sitting in or the seemingly mundane act of typing on a digital screen. In the United States, you are constantly surrounded by a deeply secular, surface-level culture that treats words as disposable vibrations and digital commitments as meaningless text, completely blinding you to the fact that your material and financial destiny is secured in the unseen realm. But I am here to completely interrupt that modern blindness. Your digital response right now is not a casual engagement metric for an internet platform. It is your official spiritual signature on the celestial manifest of permanent wealth distribution and safety. Right now, the invisible hand is standing over the central master console of your financial destiny, his finger hovering directly over the final release button. But the supreme authorization is currently paused. He is waiting for you to legally step forward and confirm your identity as the authorized governor of your house. If you remain a silent, hesitant observer out of sheer carelessness or doubt, you are effectively signaling to the heavenly recorders that you accept the terms of the old bankruptcy notice. You are letting your silence act as a legal waiver, allowing the spirits of lack and debt to reoccupy your home. I have seen the whispers you could not hear. I heard the spirits of financial suffocation and constant struggle gathering in a desperate, frantic circle at the very perimeter of your bank account. They are staring at your fingers on your device at this very split second. They are desperately whispering doubt into the atmosphere, praying that you will hesitate, praying that you will feel too cynical, too prideful, or too embarrassed to type your decree. They know with absolute certainty that if they can keep you silent for just a few more seconds, the spiritual transfer of 10x abundance will hit a catastrophic, irreversible bottleneck. Your massive financial breakthrough will be marked as refused and automatically sent back to a state of permanent freeze. The enemy will instantly regain legal custody of your wallet, reactivating their chaos protocols, and leaving your loved ones trapped in the exact same cycle of exhaustion, chronic anxiety, and sudden financial emergencies that broke your ancestors since 1990. But I am commanding you to completely smash their schemes right now. I am commanding you to log your confirmation into the heavenly database by typing in the comments immediately, "Wealth Unlocked" or "Financial Freedom." Do not get fooled. This is the definitive fast-forward mechanism for your family's peace, stability, and wealth. The moment you type those words, you are performing an aggressive, spiritual takeover of the sanctuary that was hoarded and stolen by the forces of scarcity. You are driving a legal stake into the spiritual database and declaring to every spirit of hereditary failure, every root of debt accumulation, and every demonic architect of sudden economic crisis that their jurisdiction over your money is totally broken. You are trading your years of financial suffering and fear of the future for his boundless, unfailing resilience. If you choose to ignore this explicit directive out of hesitation, you are choosing to wake up tomorrow morning to the exact same heaviness, the same empty energy reserves, and the same terrifying domestic tightness you have endured for months. Your miracle will remain frozen in a state of eternal suspension because the head of the house refused to sign the release form. I saw the secret meetings of the celestial registrars of life and legacy. They are standing at absolute attention right now, waiting for the frequency of your specific response. They cannot drop the millions of dollars in spiritual vitality and extended wealth protection into a physical frame that refuses to declare its recovery. Your written command is the active key that shatters the enemy's freezing mechanisms over your home's atmosphere. When you type "Wealth Unlocked," you are completely neutralizing the financial and emotional blockades that have paralyzed your family's endurance, your mental clarity, and your long-term legacy goals. You are telling every force of external manipulation that their authority over your household timeline is entirely null and void. You are executing the sovereign decree of the king over your domestic territory. In the United States, you are trained by the secular system to operate in a spirit of absolute doubt, to wait for physical sight before you dare to speak with authority. But I am here to command a total reversal of that broken protocol tonight. In the courts of the sovereign, your decree creates the materialization, your word forces the physical property to realign. Your long-standing family panic has been a counterfeit security blanket that you have held onto out of sheer habit. Tonight, you must violently tear that blanket away. You must trade the comfortable, predictable rhythm of your struggle for the terrifying, explosive velocity of supernatural immunity. I am commanding a full-scale spiritual riot against your household status quo. Type the word. Sign the letter. Release the flood of peace over your living room. I have seen the whispers you could not hear, and I am deleting them right now with the roaring sound of this sudden release. The adversary is absolutely terrified of what happens when your fingers touch that keyboard. He knows that the moment you enter your code into the registry, his legal right to hold your family's peace hostage is completely terminated. He has kept your household weak and worried for decades for one reason: to keep your mouth closed and your focus off your ultimate destiny. By publicly writing financial freedom, you are officially taking your seat as a chief administrator of the kingdom's protection. You are forcing your family's file out of the enemy's execution center and triggering an instantaneous distribution of safety and life force. Do not be fooled. The invisible hand will never force his abundance into a home that remains silent and unaligned. He requires your active confirmation to drop the health and wealth of the Creator into your lap. This text is your literal digital passcode. Without it, the midnight bank alert remains a distant possibility rather than an immediate possession. But with it, the transfer becomes completely unstoppable. The release becomes irreversible. The safety becomes manifest. I saw the secret meetings of the registrars of glory. They are updating your family's bank balances and protection logs the very microsecond you execute this command. They are clearing the red ink of your family's struggles and inputting the massive sovereign surplus. You are moving from the panic of the ticking watch to the dominion of the master. The old frequency of decay is dead the moment you authorize its exit. The immense vault of life is lived the moment you claim its contents. The command is issued. The registry is open. The pen is in your hands. Do not hesitate for a single second. Do not negotiate with your past domestic trials. Wealth unlocked. Type it with the heavy authority of a ruler. Financial freedom. Write it with the absolute certainty of an owner. You are entering the sanctuary of the fully shielded. The invisible hand has pre-approved the payout of peace. Now you must finalize the delivery. I have seen the whispers you could not hear, and I am deleting them with the pulse of the eternal covenant. The freeze is broken. The sovereign vault of longevity and protection is open. You are safe in the authorization of the Almighty. You are secure in the treasury of the King. The vulnerability is exiting. The overflow of God is occupying your home. The confirmation is final. The desperate midnight tears you shed over your bank statement have been officially turned into divine authority. The ancient, broken financial ledger that allowed the spirits of lack, debt accumulation, and crushing poverty to manipulate your bloodline since the year 1990 has been completely burned to ashes in the highest courts of heaven. Your exact bank routing profile has been permanently marked in the golden registry as a fully cleared, hyper-defended territory of supernatural overflow. As I look at you right now through the scanning lens of the spirit realm, the exhausted, terrified debtor who clicked on this broadcast drowning in economic anxiety no longer exists. You have been entirely restructured at a molecular and structural level. You are no longer a vulnerable target trying to survive the next set of bills. You are the sovereign governor of an armored legacy. But hear me with an absolute, chilling clarity, and let a holy, trembling terror seize your entire soul before this transmission cuts off forever. A newly opened vault of immense wealth and a freshly unblocked pipeline are the absolute prime targets for a catastrophic, vengeful counterattack from the entities of scarcity. You are entering the definitive phase of the finality, and your assignment right now is the ruthless, unyielding lockdown of your assets. Welcome to the Golden Shield. Do not be fooled into thinking that the spirit of poverty will simply pack its bags and let you walk in absolute financial freedom, luxury, and overflow without launching a brutal, desperate raid to reclaim its control over your life. In the United States, you are surrounded by a superficial, casual digital culture that treats spiritual declarations as disposable background noise, encouraging you to feel a temporary emotional high and then carelessly swipe away. But I am here to interrupt that fatal negligence with a severe, chilling warning. The exact microsecond this video ends and your screen goes dark, the spirits of financial ruin are going to deploy their most vicious trackers to find your exact coordinates. They are waiting for you to drop your guard. They are praying that you treat this historic financial pipeline unblock as a common internet clip rather than an eternal, life and death covenant. I am commanding you to immediately build your protection circle. This circle, this absolute, unyielding commitment to lock your bank account into this sanctuary by hitting that subscribe button right now, is not a casual media option. It is your literal spiritual security lock over your new wealth and permanent prosperity. If you choose to walk away from this altar thinking you can maintain this massive new velocity of wealth on your own, you are signing a legal warrant for your own household's sudden economic collapse. The moment you disconnect from this continuous broadcast and remain unsubscribed, the golden shield falls. The enemy will see your financial assets completely uncovered, and he will immediately launch a ruthless, retaliatory spiritual attack against your business and your income streams. They will hack straight back into your financial kismet, reintroduce the unexplainable emergencies, trigger sudden market losses, and shrink your wallet right back into the same miserable cage of survival your parents spent decades crying inside of. You will find yourself right back where you started, watching your cash disappear, watching the collection notices pile up on your table, and lying awake at midnight drowning in the exact same financial panic you thought was broken tonight. I have seen the whispers you could not hear. I see the thieves of destiny standing at the perimeter of your bank account at this very second, watching your hand on your device. They are counting on your pride. They are betting everything that you will be too distracted, too lazy, or too careless to lock your subscription into this fortress. And hear me closely, it breaks my heart to deliver this truth, but your negligence in this final hour does not just ruin your personal future, it deeply, profoundly grieves the heart of Almighty God. It causes the Creator of the universe to weep over your life out of sheer sorrow for your carelessness. Think of the agonizing, staggering cost that was paid to unblock the financial pipeline of your life tonight. Think of the man of sorrows, Jesus Christ, hanging on a brutal wooden cross, his body stripped completely naked, his flesh torn to ribbons, crying out in absolute agony as he took the full, crushing weight of your generational poverty, your debts, and your financial limitations into his own innocent soul. He became poor so that you, through his ultimate poverty, might become rich. He allowed his own heart to rupture and his own blood to pour onto the dirt so that your wallet could inherit an impenetrable, supernatural shield. Every single stripe on his bleeding back was paid in full to purchase the financial freedom of your next generation. How dare you treat his agony like a cheap, passing entertainment clip? How can you look at the bleeding wounds of your Savior, who broke the vaults of hell to fund your life, and then walk away from his fortress because you were too careless to stay connected to his altar? When you turn your back on this protection circle, you are looking directly into the weeping eyes of God and telling him that his son's sacrifice wasn't worth your commitment. You are making the Father hide his face in deep sorrow, watching his child willingly hand the keys of their newly unlocked wealth back to the very demons that tortured their lineage since 1990. Do not make him withdraw his hand of prosperity from your roof. Do not force the spirit of abundance to depart from your borders because you treated his holy covenant like a common game. Do not get fooled. This is your final ultimatum. This channel is your digital altar of multi-generational financial momentum, the precise spiritual fuel station where you are legally required to check in every single night to receive your daily wealth updates. By hitting that subscribe button right now and activating your notification bell, you are arming the laser security system of heaven around your investments, your career, and your bank account. You are completely vandalizing the enemy's last hope of reclaiming your money. You are sealing the walls of the golden shield. Hit the button. Lock the circle. Stand inside the fortress and refuse to move. Do not grieve the Father. Do not betray the Son. Stay connected, stay sovereign, and protect your wealth forever. The pipeline is open. The wealth is released. The golden shield is locked eternally.